UFC 322 this Saturday. Giacomo Jack Della Maddalena will be defending for the first time his welterweight strap against Islam Makhachev, the former 155-pound champion of the UFC. One of the best fighters we've ever seen step foot in the octagon. One of the most well-rounded, most dominant grapplers we have seen step foot in the octagon. He is moving up to 170 pounds to challenge JDM. And guys, this is a huge fight. I have not been excited for a pay-per-view. Like, how excited I am for this pay-per-view compared to the rest of, like, the really good pay-per-views we've really had this year. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I like JDM so much, and I enjoy watching Makhachev fight a lot. He's so good. And I think this matchup is just super, super interesting. I think, man, there's just so many different ways this fight can go. In all reality, they are both, like, styles make fights, as old Uncle Dana always says, and it is very true in this fight. And guys, in today's video, we will be picking and predicting every fight on UFC 322. My cat has walked in front of the camera, but I believe he is going to stop doing that. Let's get into the video. Starting off slow for sure. They just added this fight very recently. I barely even heard about it until like a couple days ago, and maybe that's when they added it. I cannot tell you, but this is not that interesting of a fight, guys. Let's be honest here. I'm going to take Matias Camilo, and basically the reason I am taking Matias Camilo is just poor old Slaviclaws, man. I can't even say his name. I meant to pull up the picture. I have a picture from, I went to UFC, it was 317, right? When Ilya knocked out Charles, International Fight Week. I literally have a picture of Slaviclaws in the airport behind me. Depressed, like poor guy. I think he was boarding a Southwest flight. I felt so bad for him. But I'm taking Camilo, man. I am taking him just due to the fact that he has a better record. Okay, that's the only reason I'm taking Matias Camilo. He's more athletic. I don't like this fight. I think this is a horrible fight. I don't think Camilo's very good at all. Borshev should have been cut 2 fights ago, probably. And I didn't know who to pick, but I'm taking Camilo. Just pretty much. Gosh dang, stop it! Quit, silly cat. Yeah, I'm taking Camilo because he's more athletic. Borshev just gets finished so easily. I don't trust him in any fight at this point, especially on the ground. Camilo, honestly, he gets subbed pretty easy as well, I was looking at. But he just seems to be the better athlete all around. Honestly, gut level, I'll be honest with you guys, I think they both are trash, and I'm taking Camilo because he's more athletic. Let's not spend too much time on this. We have much better fights to talk about, and much better fighters like Vasangur Sursakayev. Can't say his name that well. He's facing Eric Makhachev, okay? Now, let's talk about Sursakayev. He is the man who took a fight on 4 days' notice right after the Contender Series. He fought, what was his name? I believe his name was Eric Nolan. Eric Nolan put up a scrap for a little bit, okay? Let's be honest. He really did. But Sursakayev is nasty, man. He's a very good prospect. He's long, lanky, mixes up everything on the feet. Long, snappy shots, man. He doesn't have that one-punch knockout power necessarily, but everything he throws has sting on it. And if you walk into something, if he hits you in the right spot with the sting he has on his shots, man, you're going down. You're getting knocked out. And, man, I'm taking Sursakayev by first-round KO. Makhachev was finished by Nursultan Ruzaboyev very easily. He was very timid, could not break the range advantage Ruzaboyev had whatsoever. Sursakayev's going to have another range advantage. He works those kicks very well up the middle, uses his length, his reach advantage very well. And this is just an easy fight to pick, in my opinion, man. I think the odds are super correct. Sursakayev finishes this fight easily in the first round. And, man, Makhachev, he's 10-3-1. All 3 of his losses are by knockout. It's going to be his 4th one. I wouldn't say he's chinny, but he goes down pretty easy. I'm not going to lie. And Sursakayev has finished all of his pro MMA fights, including his debut in the UFC and his Contender Series fight. Um, and Makhachev just offers nothing that can keep this fight close. And we know Sursurkayev, coming from that region of the world, he's going to have plenty of grappling to deal with Makhachev. You know what I mean? Yeah, Makhachev will not be able to close the distance whatsoever in this fight. Sursurkayev will have another big win. First round KO. I'm 1-2 down the middle. I think it's going to be simple. I think it's going to be 1-2 down the middle. Sursurkayev knocking out Makhachev very early, I would say, at that as well. I enjoy Sursurkayev. I enjoy watching him fight. The way he fights on the feet is very fun. Mixes many different techniques together. Very clean kicks. Sursurkayev, easy pick all day. Moving on to, we're going to slow down the pace a little bit of what was an interesting prospect we had to watch. We got Angela Hill, the old crafty woman veteran, taking on Fatima Klein. I'm going to take Fatima Klein to finish this fight in the second round. Angela Hill, her wins in the UFC is can crushing for the most part. Her just having been fighting in the UFC longer, those are her wins. She has no finishing ability whatsoever. She's not even that good at necessarily anything. I don't know how she's been in the UFC this long. Her losses are anybody with any decent fundamental skill on the feet or on the ground for WMMA. And I think this is going to be an easy fight for Fatima Klein. Klein's last two fights, she mixes up her kickboxing very well. Pretty disciplined on the feet. Somewhat responsible defensively. Way more weapons than Angela Hill. Seems to have decent power for 115 pounds WMMA. I just see nothing that Angela Hill can offer that would prevent Fatima Klein from finishing this fight at some point. Fatima Klein's only loss in the UFC is Jasmine Jasdavicius. In hindsight, that's not that bad of a loss at all, especially with her strong grappling game. And, coming from a striking background, in all of MMA, you tend to lose fights to grapplers maybe early in your career, but then improve that anti-grappling techniques, and you end up being somewhat good, and I think that could be Fatima Klein. I think she has some skill here in the women's strawweight division. I like her a lot in this fight. I'm trying to think if I had anything else to say about this. I don't believe I do. Angela Hill, that's what I was going to say. She's an aunt. She's not an unk, but she is an aunt. A lot of these unks and aunts, they seem to just be getting TKO'd very frequently and very easily. They seem to just be anything snappy that gets hit to the chin with. They get hit to the chin with. They curl up in a ball on the ground. We'll talk about this later with Gilbert Burns and Michael Morales. Not that this fight's on this card, obviously, but, to talk about Michael Morales and Sean Brady. Nevertheless, I see Fatima Klein stinging Angela Hill sometime in the second round. Her crawling up in a ball on the ground, and I think Fatima Klein gets an easy TKO finish in the second round. Moving on to Pat Sabatini and Chepe Mariscal. This fight just got added recently as well. I don't know why they just added, two kind of like random fights on this card, but, this ain't that bad of a fight at all. These two guys have seen each other on the regional scene before they both stepped foot in the UFC octagon. Chepe got the better of it with a split decision win. I'm not going to lie to y'all and tell y'all I watched that fight. I didn't, but I do know that happened for a fact. Chepe also holds a win over Yusuf Zalal. I believe he has wins over Trevor Peek, Morgan Charrier, and Jack Jenkins, which are a lot better wins than his even last two wins. And you compare that to Pat Sabatini's resume, that is so much better than Sabatini. Sabatini, while he has not looked bad in his UFC run necessarily, he has not fought the same guys Chepe has. They both have a common opponent in Damon Jackson, pretty mid UFC featherweight. And Pat Sabatini was finished by him in the first round. And I believe Damon Jackson was cut not too long ago. And Chepe beat Damon Jackson, I believe, by decision, if I do remember it correctly. Chepe has a very strong judo game. He's a good grappler, very strong, very physical. Pat Sabatini, a good submission guy for sure, solid grappler. I go with the guy who's more physical as a grappler compared to a mostly pure jiu-jitsu guy. I like Chepe's physicality and strength compared to Sabatini. I think he has. I think he positions himself plenty well enough to avoid any crafty submissions Pat Sabatini may have to offer. I see this as a clear unanimous decision win for Chepe Mariscal, 30-27, no doubt in my mind. I think the physicality of Chepe is just going to be too much for Sabatini. And like in that Damon Jackson fight, the pressure and physicality of Damon Jackson is what lost Sabatini that fight. I like what I've seen on film there. I think this is an easy Chepe Mariscal unanimous decision win. He's going to grind him out. I think it's going to be a clear win for Chepe. Man, the guy needs to finish fights though. This could be a statement win for him here, and I highly suggest he looks to make a statement here with the win streak he's on. Could possibly get a top 15 matchup. It's strange though. I feel like his latter 3 wins that I talked about with Morgan Charrier, Jack Jenkins, and Trevor Peete are all better wins than his last 2 wins, and most likely his 3rd win with Pat Sabatini. Kind of weird matchmaking to me, honestly. I would have gave Chepe maybe someone a little bit better for sure. Nevertheless, though, easy win for Chepe in my opinion. Moving on to, honestly, somewhat of an interesting early prelim fight. I'm going to get a swig of water real quick. I got thirsty. I'm talking really fast. Kyle Dawkins and Gerald Meerschaert. 2 crafty guys, especially Meerschaert. Veteran of the game. I think this is an easy Kyle Dawkins win. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm not going to give a prediction of how Dawkins will win. That's where I don't know for sure. I really don't. Maybe club and sub, maybe on the feet, maybe decision, maybe just straight up submission in the grappling exchanges. But I think both guys match up well on the ground, submission-wise. I would give the edge to Gerald, but Dawkins is good enough there, in my opinion, to not worrying about being finished or anything like that. Gerald, at this point in his career, really his whole career, absolutely no threat on the feet. Not a ground and pound guy whatsoever. Kyle Dawkins got cut from the UFC. I believe went on a 4-fight win streak in Cage Fury. Was the Cage Fury champion. Came back to the UFC on short notice. Flew all the way to China and absolutely demolished Michel Pereira. Michel Pereira, another Brazilian, a Brazilian shill for a small country in the Middle East. There's a weird thing going on there, but we're not going to talk about that. If you know, you know. Nevertheless, though, I think this is an easy win for Kyle Dawkins. I think on the ground, they practically nullify each other. On the feet, Kyle Dawkins has shown a lot more aggression and confidence in his hands, in his striking game in general. And to knock out Michel Pereira like he did, he has some click in those freaking paws of his, man. And that worries me for Meerschaert. He's really, really chinny. Coming out that KO loss to Mikhaila Losheshik. Maybe that's the pick. Dawkins, I'm going to go Dawkins first round KO. I think Meerschaert's done for, sadly. I've always had a soft spot for Gerald Meerschaert in my heart. Nevertheless, though, I'm super confident in Dawkins getting this one done. There's a lot of fights like this where I'm really confident in my pick, and there's plenty of others I'm not too confident in, for sure. But just the way Kyle Dawkins has looked since he's been cut. I watched a couple of highlights of him on the regional scene once he got cut, and that he was showing a lot of confidence on the feet. He just seems like he believes in himself so much more than he did before he got cut. And I always thought he had a decent amount of talent to be something in the middleweight division. I'm not exactly if he's a top 15 guy, but someone who can give a lot of guys a run for their money. And I think at this point in Meerschaert's career, he's just done for, pretty chinny. I think Dawkins is going to catch him on the feet, run it back like he did against Pereira. Give me Kyle Dawkins. First round KO. First round KO. We're going to get a lot of finishes this card, guys. You just got to believe, man. You just got to believe. And opening up the prelims, Malcolm Wellmaker, man. One of the best prospects in the UFC right now, in my opinion, at bantamweight. Probably the best prospect at bantamweight. I just mean entirely as a prospect. Taking on Cody Haddon, taking this fight on short notice. He was supposed to fight Sarhi City, which I thought was a much better matchup, much more of a test for Wellmaker. City would have probably tried to implement a clinch grappling game plan. I would have loved to seen how Wellmaker would fend that off, or skills he had in the grappling department and in the clinch. But Cody Haddon, even though in my video yesterday, I talked about how Australia could possibly be the future of the UFC and MMA as a country. Cody Haddon's not a part of that, man. He did not look good against Dan Argueta. Dan Argueta's not a good fighter whatsoever. He's not bad on the feet. He was getting tagged by Argueta a lot. He just swings so wide open. His chin is in the air at all times. He has no defensive responsibility whatsoever on the feet. He never holds a guard whatsoever. Surely he'll change that going into a fight against a guy in Wellmaker who has incredible power and speed. His hands are so crisp and tight on the feet. He does overswing a little bit, but that was against Chris Moutinho for the most part. Man, this just is a recipe for disaster for Cody Haddon, in my opinion. I think Malcolm Wellmaker catches him super, super quick, right on the chin as Cody Haddon goes to swing with a nice tight check hook. I think it'll be one of the first 10 strikes Malcolm Wellmaker throws that will put out Cody Haddon out cold. I really wish this was Sergey City instead of Cody Haddon, but we are going to get to see Malcolm Wellmaker freaking put a guy out cold on the canvas. This is another easy lock of a pick, man. Malcolm Wellmaker, very early, first round knockout. And hopefully the UFC really better give him a bump up in competition after this one. He deserves it. He's kind of young, kind of older. I think he's getting close to the 30s. He may be in his 30s. Does it say age on here? It does not say age on here. I should know that. That's my bad, guys. Nevertheless, this is Malcolm Wellmaker all day. And give him a bump up after this. Please, Dana. This is getting out of hand. Because he's just putting everyone out cold. Moving on to Erin Blanchfield and Tracy Cortez. An interesting matchup here at women's flyweight for sure. And I when I was researching for this card, I didn't realize Tracy Cortez literally fights like exactly once a year. She's really beat no one that good besides Viviane Araújo, however you say her name. Apologies, I'm terrible at pronouncing that. I'm just a Texan. All right, I'm just a little old Texas boy. That's her best win. Araújo gave her some problems as well, but Tracy was able to grind it out with some sloppy boxing and wrestling, of course. She just tries to march her way through with her grappling and sloppy boxing. And I feel like a lot of people overrate Tracy Cortez, but who couldn't be biased or overrate Tracy Cortez? I mean, she just has the best personality you could ever think of. Her personality's just fantastic. She just has a great personality, super personality. It's a great personality that she has. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, Erin Blanchfield's going to win this fight by UD. Easy 30-27. She's just better everywhere. She's more fundamentally disciplined on the feet. Her hands get better every fight. She's able to box somewhat decently. And I think her wrestling and her pressure and physicality is also much better than Cortez. There's a reason Erin Blanchfield has been at the top of the women's flyweight division for as long as she has at this point. I think this is an easy fight. And I like Tracy Cortez, obviously, because she has a great personality, And I just, wherever this fight goes, Erin's more well-rounded. And this is just, like I said, it's an easy pick. And I know, Tracy has just this beautiful personality. And her personality is just so great. And I love her personality. And just her personality is great. But she's going to lose this fight. Personality does not win mixed martial art fights, guys, if y'all didn't know that. Because I feel like a lot of people think personality really, especially in WMMA, if you have a beautiful personality, it edges some wins out for you. But that's not true. Erin Blanchfield, easy 30-27 win. And if you didn't get the personality part, I mean, she has a great personality. Moving on to one of the more difficult fights on this card to predict, in my opinion. I was thinking about it this week and stuff, and I was like, man, this is a tough fight to pick. But then I got to thinking, and I was like, who has Kopylov really beat? Who has he knocked out in the octagon? I'm looking at his resume and thinking about it. No one that good. Struggles with Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is not bad. Struggled in that fight. He didn't like the pressure he was getting because Chris Curtis, he'll continue to march forward and put on a little boxing clinic of his that is not necessarily a clinic, but he'll try to make it a clinic for sure. And that fight was close, honestly. He was for sure winning that third round until the controversial stoppage towards the end. It's controversial, but honestly, I thought it was a good stoppage with that head kick. Nasty head kick. Kopylov has some great kicks, man. He has the skills there on the feet. But what I seen of in his last fight with Costa and how Costa just broke him pretty much by putting the pace and the pressure on him and just tagging him with hard shots, keeping his distance, managing the range, and just putting damage on him. I'm going RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez, and I'm gonna go KO. I'm gonna go KO for RoboCop here. I think he's just gonna walk forward with his good boxing. He has really solid boxing. Packs a nasty punch. All right, coming off a nasty KO win over Jack Hermanson. I was there. He was freaking nasty, man. And now that Christopher Leroy Duncan win, aging pretty well, man. Especially after that performance he had against Marco Tulio last Saturday. I think just the pressure and Rodriguez's toughness just to continue to walk forward. I think it's just a bad matchup for Kopylov. And I'm gonna take no. RoboCop third round KO. I also think Rodriguez will have a grappling advantage here if he decides to implement that at any point in this fight. I think he could see success there. But even on the feet, I think Kopylov in that first round, maybe he wins the first, maybe even the second, makes it look super competitive. But I think Rodriguez is just going to keep walking forward. Kopylov doesn't look that great off his back foot. I think Rodriguez is just going to put a lot of damage, just starting to land harder shots as the fight goes on. I think he's tougher than Kopylov. I think this is a Rodriguez late finish all day long. Moving on to another fight that was hard for me to predict, man. It's for Bo Nickel and Rodolfo Vieira. This is an interesting matchup, guys. Let me get a swig of water real quick. I'm a thirsty boy. Rodolfo Vieira is going to win this fight. He's going to beat Bo Nickel. And let me tell you why. He's going to submit him in the second round. I watched both of their fights versus Cody Brundage today. And what I noticed from Bo Nickel is that, of course, he is a very good NCAA wrestler. He looks like a very good NCAA wrestler that you threw in the UFC octagon. That's what he looks like. And anytime he feels that he is about to end up in a disadvantaged position, he panics really bad. And it's like all the wires in his head just explode. It's like he can't handle it. If he's not clearly in an advantageous position, the guy panics. And honestly, I think Brundage should have won both of these fights, in all honesty, because he kind of did the same thing in the grappling exchanges with the panicking and whatnot, and just kind of, if he was a little more patient and held himself together a little more, he could have ended up in the better positions and won those fights. Granted, he lost both fights, was submitted by both guys. Nevertheless, though, Brundage has looked a little bit better since that performance against Nickel. He fought Vieira more recently. Vieira was able to submit him in the second round. Bo Nickel, he's just so sporadic on the ground. And I think he could look like he may cruise to a decision win. He poses no ground and pound threat. His submission game's very basic. And I think in these scrambles, there's going to be a time where Rodolfo Vieira is going to get a bit, maybe not even like the better of the scramble, but just Bo Nickel feeling that he is about to maybe possibly end up in a bad position. I think he's going to panic, get really sporadic, and leave something open. And I think Rodolfo Vieira is going to take advantage of that uncalmness that Bo Nickel has. He does not fight with confidence. Vieira, he knows who he is. He knows he's a freaking jiu-jitsu submission guy. He's going to stay composed on the feet. Bo Nickel really has... He's somewhat powerful, kind of, on the feet. I don't see him catch Vieira. Vieira has yet to be knocked out yet. Got hit really hard by Brundage in their fight. Was able to survive. I don't see Bo Nickel putting him out on the feet. And I just think there is going to be a time where Bo Nickel feels like he's about to end up in a losing position. And he's going to panic. And Rodolfo Vieira is going to take advantage of that and find a submission. Bo's going to leave his neck or a limb, his arm, something out in the open. And Vieira's a very good grappler. He's fought against some of the best grapplers in the world, like Gordon Ryan. I mean, he lost to Gordon Ryan, but everybody loses to Gordon Ryan. But he's fought some of the best in the world. He knows what he's doing on the ground. He's very comfortable. Seems very comfortable in the octagon as well. I love Adolfo Vieira by submission. And in all honesty, if Bo Nickel is what he claims to be with how good he is, he should have squashed a guy like Cody Brundage. He should have squashed a guy like Paul Gregg. So I'm not a believer at all. I do not believe whatsoever. Adolfo Vieira, second round submission. And what's Bo Nickel going to do after that? Two losses in a row. And he just crumbled so easily against Renier de Ritter. And while Vieira is nowhere near the level of RDR, of course, he's going to be calm and composed. He's going to just keep looking to win. He's not going to be intimidated by Bo, in my opinion. And I think he's going to find a submission somewhere in the second round for sure. Moving on to the freaking main card, and we're opening it up with Beneil Dariush and Benoit Saint Denis. And I want to point something out. People forget, man. Beneil Dariush beat Mateusz Gamrot very clearly. I think this is a very interesting fight, but I'm going to go with Beneil Dariush to finish this fight in the third round by TKO or submission. I think it's going to start off very close, maybe Benoit edging it out, but I think Beneil is the better grappler overall, and what gets Benoit the advantages in the grappling in most of his fights is his physicality. That's how he beat Huffy, and also Huffy just seemed to not be that great in the grappling realm. But Dariush is a great grappler. I am very interested to see what this fight looks on the feet, but I'd give the advantage to Dariush technically and speed-wise, athletically on the feet. I know he has the gray hair and all, but he's not super old. Benoit, skill-wise, is not that impressive to me. Dariush, phenomenal grappling game. He gets it done on the feet. He's able to compose himself, coming off that win over Moicano. I think this fight could play out similar in the last two rounds to how Moicano and Benoit Saint Denis played out in Paris. I think we could see it close. Benoit pressuring, using his physicality to outmaneuver Dariush. But I think as this fight goes on, I trust Dariush's cardio much, much more. He's going to be defending a lot of the grappling exchanges, and he's going to be offensively grappling as well. I think this is going to tire out BSD, and I think in that third round, they're going to start up on the feet. Saint Denis is going to be gassed, and I think Dariush is going to start piecing him up on the feet. Saint Denis slows down very quickly, in my opinion, and Dariush going into this fight is the better striker. Saint Denis for sure has a power advantage. I'd recommend Saint Denis try to get him out of there early, because the longer this fight goes, just Beneil Dariush is just going to continue to take over, and I think that's exactly is what's going to happen. Beneil Dariush, third round, TKO, maybe knocks him down on the feet, ends up getting on the ground and pound. Fight ends up on the ground, Saint Denis gassed, Beneil Dariush ground and pound, catches him with a submission, club and sub, something like that later on in the fight, in the third round. Beneil Dariush, third round finish. That is my prediction for this fight. Moving on to a fight, besides the main event, I think I am most excited about this fight. I love Carlos Prates. After that second Kamaru Usman fight, I thought Leon Edwards would be a long reigning champion. But after his lackluster, he beat Colby Covington. Colby Covington's not that good anymore. He was pretty good at one point. Not that good anymore, man. He should have never been in that title fight, of course. But Leon Edwards tends to get stung. He got stung by Kamaru in both fights. Got stung by Bilal. If I remember correctly, Colby kind of had him stung there a couple times. Got stung by Nate Diaz late. Leon Edwards fights super timid. He does not... If he was somewhat more aggressive and threw volume, I would much more consider picking him in this fight. Or if this was a 5-rounder. But in a 3-round scenario with a marauder like Carlos Prates, who is going to walk you down, he is going to size you up, and he's going to throw bombs. He's going to mix in kicks. He is going to attack the leg. I think Leon Edwards is going to be on his back foot this entire time. And I like Carlos Prates' second round KO. That's what I like. I think he's going to frustrate Edwards in that first round. Even if Edwards is able early to also land good strikes of his own in that first round, I don't think Carlos will stop pressing forward, mixing up the combinations. And Leon, especially on the back foot, he's not gonna. He throws nothing more than two strike combinations: punch, kick, 1-2. Like tap a leg kick, attack the body. Carlos Prates, man, punches and kicks and bunches, man. He mixes up. He throws 3-4 strike combinations, punches and kick combinations. Muay Thai super nasty. I think this is a Carlos Prates second round finish. I think Leon Edwards is defeated mentally, as we've seen in his last two fights. The way even Sean Brady, after that first round, was able to tag him up on the feet as well. Sean Brady was landing nice strikes against Edwards. We'll talk about that in the next fight with Michael Morales and Sean Brady. The one thing that worries me about Edwards is if he implements a grappling game plan like Ian Gary did against Prates. However, I am confident in a guy like Prates who has the hunger to win. He seems like he loves fighting. He is going to drill. He's going to work on that. And Leon I don't like Leon Edwards mentally in this spot against a guy like Carlos Prates. I think he's going to break him. I think he's going to freaking do damage to him in that second round. Close first round. Maybe Edwards wins a close first round. Carlos Prates is going to find the range and his timing, and he's going to find the shots to put him out in the second round. I love Carlos Prates in this fight. Carlos Prates, second round knockout. Moving on to another very big fight in the welterweight division. I got to get a swig of water. A lot of people are calling this like a very interesting fight. I like Michael Morales. I think he has a lot of potential. He has all the athletic attributes. But I think this is an easy Sean Brady win. Michael Morales' best win, coming off a win. Nasty finish of Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, in his prime, very dangerous 170er. At this point in his career, not really at all. Referring to like unks curling up and getting finished. That's a perfect example of that. I mean, Michael Morales hit him hard, of course, but as soon as he felt that strike, he just didn't want to be in there. Gilbert Burns in his prime gives Michael Morales a whole lot of more problems. Sean Brady looked phenomenal in his last outing against Leon Edwards. After that first round that Leon probably edged out there, Sean Brady was getting the better on the feet, man. His boxing has gotten a lot better. He's a lot more defensively responsible. Michael Morales, I don't think he offers enough combination variety on the feet to catch Sean Brady or do enough damage on the feet to get a decision win. Maybe he wins that first round, but I think Sean Brady, again, he's going to push the pace. Michael Morales, he did beat Neil Magny. He passed the Magny test. But I think Brady's grappling chops is just going to be too much for Michael Morales in the spot. Besides Gilbert Burns and Magny, which in hindsight, that's an even better win at this point without Magny seems to never age. He has not fought that many top-level guys. He's unable to get guys like Max Griffin put out during the length of a fight. I don't trust him in this spot. I like Michael Morales. I like the potential he has. But Sean Brady, I trust so much more in this spot to implement a game plan to get this fight to the ground and find a submission at some point. We have not seen Michael Morales struggle too much on his back. Sean Brady puts on a heavy top pressure, shorter, denser, good center of gravity guy in Sean Brady. Very good submission game as well. I'd like Sean Brady's second round submission. I think Michael Morales can keep it on the feet, and Sean Brady will look to strike a little bit with him in that first round, somewhat close. I think in that latter half of that first round, Sean Brady's going to start to push the pace on Morales, possibly get a takedown or two, hold him down towards the end of that first round. I think as soon as that second round bell starts, Sean Brady's going to continue to push the pace. Michael Morales will be on the back foot. I think Sean Brady will be able to land a nice few 1-2 combinations in here and there. He has pretty good, decent, powerful, sharp, straight shots on the feet. He's going to get this fight to the ground, find a submission. I like arm triangle. Sean Brady, second round arm triangle. I just think it's too fast for Morales. I know Gilbert Burns, like on paper, seems like a really good win to put you in a position to fight like this. At this point in Gilbert Burns' career, I don't think he's that guy anymore that gives you a fight like Sean Brady. I think he's going to be too much for Michael Morales at this point in his career. Sean Brady, second round arm triangle submission. Moving on to the co-main event, a very interesting WMMA fight here. We got Valentina Shevchenko, a long-reigning women's flyweight champion, pound for pound number one woman in the UFC, taking on Weili Zhang. Zhang Weili moving up from 115 to 125 to challenge Valentina Shevchenko to possibly achieve double champ status. I think this is an easy pick. I think it's Zhang Weili all day. Valentina Shevchenko, in my opinion, is past her prime, slowed down somewhat. And if you've looked at the gal she's fight and destroyed before she lost to Grasso and then had the trilogy and reclaimed her belt, her last fights have been very close. She is barely the better grappler, and in a lot of those situations, she didn't even win the striking exchanges a lot of the times, And I do not trust her at all in this spot against a girl in Zhang Weili, who is one of the most athletic women fighter we've ever seen. She's so good at getting in and out of the pocket, mixing up combinations on the feet, and her ground game's good as well. Her offensive grappling's good. And I think it's going to be very hard for Shevchenko to get this fight to the ground with Zhang Weili having the speed advantage, being very quick. Dense woman, strong, athletic, good center of gravity. Shevchenko is not going to have a huge size advantage over her. I think this is Zhang Weili all the way. I think she has the advantage on the feet for sure, based on her speed. And I think at 125, I think she may carry a good amount of power. I think on the ground, Shevchenko, skill-wise, submission-wise, may be better there. But I don't think she'll be able to hold Zhang Weili down. And Zhang Weili, she's going to be very conscious of submission attempts. I don't see Shevchenko being able to submit her and getting her out of there. I don't see Shevchenko being able to knock her out on the feet. And even if Shevchenko is able to put Weili on her back, I don't see her holding her down there. I think Zhang Weili is going to be able to push the pace in this fight. Shevchenko has looked very timid and hesitant in her past few outings. This is Zhang Weili's time. She's one of the best women's MMA fighters we've ever seen. And I think on the feet, I think it's going to be very hard for Shevchenko to land anything of value on her. And I think Zhang Weili is going to be able to shell up, get in and out of range, and piece up Shevchenko, work the body, mix it up, and grappling and on the feet. I think this is Zhang Weili all day. She's going to become double champ. She's going to be a flyweight and strawweight champion. Zhang Weili by decision. I think it's going to be a clear-cut, unanimous decision win for Zhang Weili. I think she's going to make it look easy and not super dominant, but as soon as the fight's over, you're going to go Zhang Weili easily won. That's my prediction. Moving on to the freaking main event, man. Jacques Della Maddalena, the welterweight champion, in his first title defense, will be defending against the former 155-pound lightweight champion, Islam Makhachev, the best lightweight we've seen in MMA history. One of the most dominant fighters we've seen in MMA history. One of the best well-rounded, one of the most dominant grapplers we've seen in mixed martial arts. If you've watched my previous videos, you know I'm a fan of JDM. And it makes me nervous predicting what I'm about to predict because a lot of people are predicting this as well. I'm taking Jack Della Maddalena to win this fight. I think what we seen in that last fight against Bilal and only more time training with Craig Jones, getting them Craig Jones specifics, how Australia's rallying around him, how cool, calm, and collective JDM is in there in the octagon. I know his resume, I talked about this in yesterday's video, it's not the best, but just his outing against Bilal, his continuation of getting that anti-grappling skill from Craig Jones, the way Volkanovski fought Makhachev in that second fight, how he was able to not be held down too much in that fight and was able to defend and get back up from bottom position. I think Jack is going to do even better than that. I think Islam's going to have a hard time getting him down. Okay? I think he's going to have a really hard time getting him down. However, I do worry a lot. A lot of people are picking JDM, but I worry a little bit on the feet with how much Jack is going to think about the takedown and the grappling. Is that going to occupy his mind too much where Islam showcases that he really is that good of a striker, and it's not that thing of people worrying so much about his grappling, his takedown ability, his pressure, and his submission game on the ground. I worry that Jack's going to worry too, but I do worry about it, but I am confident in the fact that Jack is not going to worry about that. I do, because he's just so chill. He's so zen. He's so cool, calm, and collective in there. I like a third round KO for Jack. I don't. The way Islam looked against Dustin, how Dustin, out of his prime Dustin, my goat Dustin Poirier, the Diamond, was able to keep that competitive on a bum hip, make the grappling exchanges interesting, tag Islam on the feet. Islam looked good on the feet in that fight as well. But Jack, I would say overall, striking-wise, is better than Dustin. He's adding a repertoire of kicks to his game. His leg kicks are looking better. His body kicks are looking better. His teep kicks up the middle are looking better every fight, especially in that Bilal fight. He just seems to get better every fight. He just loves what he does, is what it seems like to me, man. He loves getting in there and fighting. And I think he has this snap on his shots, Jack. And I think he's going to be bigger than Islam. Islam's going to look big, but he's going to be bigger. He's going to have a wider frame. And I think he's going to be able to do what he needs to do, defending the grappling, the takedown attempts, getting up off bottom, defending the takedowns. I believe in him. I do worry, though, at 170, he's a bigger guy, a longer, lankier guy than Islam's used to fighting. There could be more opportunity there for submissions for Islam. So I worry about that a lot if Islam's able to get Jack on his back and hold him there or get a body triangle lock. But I'm really confident in Jack in this fight. I think he has all the tools he needs to defeat Islam. And I think he wins by third round knockout. I'm literally have chills and goosebumps thinking about this fight right now. It's such a great matchup. It's so legacy defining for both of these guys. JDM's able to go out there and beat him, man. He's going to be looked at as a freaking long reigning UFC welterweight champion. And if Islam goes out there and wins and grabs that 170 strap, there's no more argument about his resume. He's in the GOAT discussion. I mean, he kind of already is, but you can do a little damage to his resume, man, when you look at it. Jack, JDM, third round knockout, man. I'm pretty confident in this. I am. Everyone's picking him though. I've noticed. I'm very worried about that. I was listening to Anik and Florian podcast today at work, and they seem to like JDM in this fight. I worry about that. I thought I was one of the few. There's a huge gap in odds in this fight. Tomorrow I plan on making a best bets video. First new time to video. I'm gonna kind of give some underdog picks, value, props, rounds, over, under, finishes. I'm going to give some best bets, look at the odds tomorrow. I'm going to make that video. And I think Jack's like plus 245. I may be throwing a little money on that. I don't know, though. I don't know. I get nervous enough for these fights as it is, guys. But I think this fight really depends on Islam getting respect on the feet, because I think while Islam will land takedowns, it's going to depend on the respect that he earns from Jack on the feet. That's the key to this fight for Islam. The key for Jack is to sprawl and brawl, dude. Because even if Islam gets the respect of Jack on the feet, Jack is a tough dude, and he's just not going to stop fighting. Islam will have to break his arm, put him out cold, choke, knock out somewhat for Jack to stop giving it everything he has, using every skill he has available to him to win this fight. I'm excited. Guys, that's it for today's video. Please comment below what you think about my picks and predictions. Let me know your picks and predictions. Man, super excited for this freaking fight, man. I'm so pumped. Please like and subscribe. Seen All MMA. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about me. Tell your parents about me. Tell your family about me. Please help me get in that algorithm so I can get more views, man. This is a dream of me one day, hopefully. I'm freaking doing this all the time for a living, man. That would be pretty legit. Shout out Dustin Poirier. This is his shirt. Shout out Dustin. Shout out Sugar Sean as well. This is a sick pink hat. Shout out. Shout out. Shout out. Shout outs. But that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know what y'all think about the picks and preview. Let me get a like from you. Let me get you a thumbs up from you. If you're an Islam fan and you're running in here and you're going, nah, because y'all are a rabid fan base, dude, I'm not being disrespectful to Islam at all. I like watching the guy fight. He's phenomenal. Funny guy. He's pretty likable, okay? It's mostly the other guys that are not, all right? So, like, literally the only videos I've got dislikes on are for me trashing some guys from that part of the world, okay? So, give it a break, will you? Just watch if you want to watch. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. But please watch. Please watch. Please watch all the way through. If you've watched this far, thank you for watching this whole video. I absolutely love you and adore you. Jesus is King. Y'all have a splendid evening.